So it didn't print with arrows, but this graph keeps on going. Your domain is going to be all reals. And this is how we write it with the interval notation. That is the answer on your quiz. The domain will be all reals. Now, because this one has an odd degree, one side goes up and one side goes down, your range is also all reals. But if you could humor me for a second, sometimes it's not. For example, if the graph did something like this, are you following me? Your range would be, let me go downwards to upwards, it would be negative infinity up to whatever that peak number is. Can you just make up a number for me? So 5, 6, whatever. Okay. And then there's actually a point there, so you would put a bracket. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if it might not be all reals, if it the y value, yes, because range is y. Correct. And then did you guys hear what she just said? The y value. Now, if it goes up, like if it did something like this, then your range, again, you go downwards to upwards, it would be whatever number this is. Again, give me a number. I don't care what it is. So like -7. I love it. It would be -7 up to infinity. So that's what it would look like if it's not all reals. I just wanted to bring that up because this one just so happens to go both directions, but that's what it would look like if not. All right, relative maximums. That would be this point right here. How do we write it? 0, good. At x equals -4. If it helps you to write it -4, comma 0, and then flip it around, then do that. All right, relative minimum is this point. It is -2, comma -6. So then I will flip it around. It's -6 at x equals -2. And again, if you could humor me for just a second, let me pull back out one of my sticky notes. This graph just so happened to have one maximum and one minimum, but look at this one I did. Do you see how this is a relative maximum and this is a relative maximum? There's two of them. See what I'm saying? So you would need to write both of them. Do you see what I'm saying? You would just have two answers. Is it like, this is making sense? Okay. And like this one would have two relative minimums. Do you see that? These are both minimums. You'd have two answers. Okay, so you just put both of them. All right, increasing, decreasing. If you want to label negative infinity to positive infinity, we're going to go left to right. So what is this graph doing first? But it's doing what? Which line am I going to write on? Increasing. All right, so good. Negative infinity to -4. Then we decrease from -4 to -2. And then we increase again from -2 onwards. So what do I put to like add on to my answer? Yeah, -2 to infinity. Perfect. And then I already wrote my limits on here. If you didn't, go ahead and put those. This is the left end negative infinity and the right end positive infinity. Go ahead. No. It's union. So it's a way of saying like my answer is not done yet. This whole thing constitutes my answer. I'm not going to take off. I'm going to put that down. All right. So what direction is the left arrow going? Yeah, down. So negative infinity. And then the right side goes up. So positive infinity. Cool. Oh, if you wrote them on the other lines, that's fine. I don't care. All right, here, we're going to put our zeros. What's 1 0 I can put on this graph? -2 and then +1. Do you see a negative out front? No, that means the right side goes up. You have to graph right to left. So if you're a left-handed person, this is your thing. Now you just connect the dots and do what it says to do. So when we get to 1, that comes from the factor with the 1 in it, okay? You have to look at the correct one. Now there's nothing written, so what does that mean we do? Go straight through like a line. And then at this one, the one with the 2 in it, we are going to bounce. So like a quadratic. How far down does this go? I'm not sure. But we're actually going to find out because I asked you the intercepts on this one. X-intercepts, I already plotted those. So -2, 0 and 1, 0. How do you get the y-intercepts? Plug 0 in. Now, I didn't plot it specifically, and that's fine. This is just a little doodly graph, but we can figure out what it is. Let's plug in 0. You ready? 0 plus 2. 4. Oh, 2 squared is 4. You guys jumped straight to the answer. So this part's 4. And then 0 minus 1 -1. So that would be -4. If you wanted to be really particular and plot it at -4 and have this come down like that, you can, but I'm not going to take off if you don't. Again, like if you wanted to do that, it's just a little doodly graph. So, good enough.
We put a union in between the x-intercepts.
No, I always think that's funny when someone does that. I don't take off for it, but that's weird. If you want to put anything in between them, you could put a comma, or you can put an and sign. A U does not belong there. I always chuckle a little bit. I don't take off any points, but it's funny when someone puts a U there. All right, last one on the front page. What are your x-intercepts you can put? Yeah, 1 and -4. So I'm going to just go ahead and write that down here. And do you see a negative out front? No negative. So the right side goes up. If there is a negative, it would just go down. Thanks. So at the 1, what are we going to do? Yeah, squiggle. It's cubed. So like this. Do you remember what I told you to do if you feel like you can't draw it?
Label wiggle.
Label wiggle. Just write wiggle next to it. Make an attempt to get it to bend. All right, and then what are we doing at the other one? Yep, just going straight through. And then to get your y-intercept, you're going to plug in 0. So let's see, 0 minus 1. -1 cubed is -1. 0 plus 4 is 4. Oh, so it came out to -4 again. And again, if you wanted to make this come down to -4, you could. Again, this is just a little doodly graph. If it bounces, wiggles, and crosses, then, correctly, then I'm good. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording again and have you guys try these ones.
Okay. Oh, I put it in front behind me.
Oh. 6 times 3 is 18, right?
So this is what your setup should look like. Just to make sure you all have it set up right, I'm going to pause again and give you a chance to try it. All right, I'm hitting record. We're going to keep on going here. All right, so you're going to multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. You ready? 3 times 2. 6, add the column, 6. All right, 3 times 6 is 18, add 1. See how the numbers are staying little? All right, 3 times 1 is 3, add 8. 3 times 8 is 24, add 30. 3 times 30 is 90, add 80. Do you see how the numbers stayed reasonable? Well, I don't ever really try to make the remainder come out to anything because you're done at that point. I don't have to do anything with the 80. So the remainder might get big because I don't try to orchestrate that. All right, now what power do you start with when you write your answer?
4.
Yep, 4. So 1 less than what was there. So we're going to have 2x to the 4th plus 6x to the 3rd plus 1x squared plus 8x plus 30. And then do you remember how to do the remainder?
You do it divided by x.
Yes.
Yep. Do you remember what that is called? It begins with a D.
Dividend.
This part is the dividend. Good. And then this part is the divisor. You guys got them both. Now, even if this is a negative number, do you remember how I told you to do it? Do plus and then just put a negative there. I've just learned over the years that works, but I've been doing this a minute. And I've learned that goes better. Okay. So here, let's set up our long division. You're going to copy. Okay. Well, it's going to take me a minute to write the problem. So hold on a second. Did you have that open again? Stop that. I don't care. It needs to be closed while I'm up here talking to you. The respect thing. All right. So you're going to copy this. Try very hard not to do a copy error. Are you writing this down with me? Or you're already done with it? All right. Copy errors are the worst. Do you know what a copy error is? Yeah, like you know exactly what you're doing. You just write something wrong. They are the absolute worst. Now, the reason why you need long division with this is, do you see how the divisor, the thing you're dividing by, has a squared in it?
Yeah.
You can't figure out like a little number in the box off to the side because it's a higher power. So synthetic division will not work here. That's why you have to do it this way. Now, the nice thing is you knock out 3 columns at once because this is a trinomial. So you ready? Here we go. How do you turn an x squared into an x squared? Good. We're on our way.
Hold on.
Okay. I didn't do anything yet, but go ahead.
I just don't know how to do any of that. I need to make sure I understand every step.
So you need to turn, you look at the first terms. You need to turn an x squared into an x to the fourth because you want the first column to
My
cancel
answer
out.
makes sense.
Okay, so hold on a second. That's good. I'm proud of you. Now you're gonna take that x squared and do what with it?
Distribute it.
What am I hearing dinging? Stop. Whoever's
Everything.
thing is dinging, make that stop.
Distribute. it.
Distribute. Are you all with me here?
Yeah.
Okay, and line up your columns. So you're gonna have x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 1x squared. Go ahead.
So for every single thing in the trinomial, is it the factor of the x gonna line up with the factor?
Yep, they will all line up. See how the fourths line up and the thirds line up and the squares line up? Now, that part usually goes okay. This is the step where the oopsies happen because you need to subtract and negative signs are difficult.
Yeah. something's not- It might be not.
Okay, well, wait till we're done here and then you can check it. All right, now the first column should cancel. When you look at the second column, just remember you're subtracting. So it's 4 minus 2. 2, good, there we go. Now this is a lot of negatives. -3 minus -1.
So it's gonna go.
Good, so -3 plus 1 is -2x squared. Good job.
Right.
Again, Again, that is the step that messes everybody up. That negatives are hard. You basically just do the opposite of what's there. All right, now what?
Now you have to figure out how to do it.
Bring down the x. We're going to do it again. It's cyclic. That was one cycle. Now we're going to do it again. So look it. You made it through the first one. You can do it. And we're only going to have to do it twice more. So look, you need to turn an x squared into a 2x cubed. So it's going to be a 2x. If you struggle with that part, do you see how this first term was an x squared?
Yeah.
It's going to be a countdown. So the next one's going to just be a something x. Like it's going to go in order. Now I'm going to take that 2x and distribute it through here. I'm not going to draw more rainbows because it's going to look super cluttered, but I'm going to distribute that 2x through there. That's going to be 2x cubed. Oh my gosh, do you see how those match? It's like we did that on purpose. All right, hold on. Let me finish this line. Plus what?
Plus 4.
4x squared. X times x is x squared. And then minus 2x. All right, go ahead. What's your question? I need for everybody to collectively focus. We're going to stay together here. Yeah, okay. Give it a hug. Subtract it. First column cancels. I usually just do that in one smooth motion. Hug, subtract, cancel the first column. So just remember you're subtracting this, or basically just do the opposite of what's there. It's -2 minus 4. -6x squared. And then what will this column give us? Yeah, plus 3x. Good. You're going to bring down the 8 and you're going to do it one more time. One more time. Is it good so far? Yay. Success. I love that for you.
I love how. So we have to figure out how to do it.
You need to make an x squared be a -6x squared.
Oh my.
So -6. 6, -6.
You see how it's going down?
Now, I'm not going to draw the rainbows because that's going to be a lot, but I'm going to distribute a -6 through here, and it's all going to line up. So it will be -6x squared minus 12x plus 6. I distributed a -6 into there. You're going to give it a hug. You're going to subtract it. Whatever's left is the remainder. We're done. You're like, phew. We only had to do 3 cycles of it, so it wasn't too bad. All right, what's left? What's our remainder? All right, good. 15x plus 2. So at the end here, you're going to put plus 15x plus 2 over the divisor. Now, I left a spot for your answer, but I probably shouldn't have. I don't need you to recopy this. This is the answer. Some people are very type A and want to rewrite it on the line. That's okay. I wouldn't, because copy errors. If you make a copy error, then it's not right anymore. So I kind of wish I hadn't left that answer blank there, but that is your answer.
Okay, so that's not